big enemy in the book is time, and it requires readers to think about time in a different sense, as opposed to I have years to accomplish something. It could literally be seconds to minutes to hours to days, and it really changes the scope on consequences and your view of consequences, how quickly you're wanting to respond to something, and the type of response that you're wanting to get from it.
We'll talk about this and much more today. Welcome to a Writer's Day podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Writer's Day podcast. My name is Ruth Douthit, and I'm a multi-published best-selling author of books in various genres. I've done fantasy and contemporary women's fiction, YA contemporary, and now I am settling on suspense. My book 3 in my Desert Shadows suspense series, Fatal Truth, releases in July. So head over to Amazon to pre-order your copy today. And head over to my website at artbyruth.com, where you can sign up for my newsletter to learn more about my upcoming projects. And I give away a book every month. And also I will be co-facilitating a writing workshop on how to craft relatable, memorable characters using the 5 C's and an S method connected to the hero's journey with best-selling author Shiloh Creed. So you can also sign up for that at my website too. That will be June 25th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time via Zoom. So it's a virtual writing workshop. So head over to artbyruth.com to sign up for that workshop today. It's only $35 for a 90-minute recorded writing workshop. So even if you can't make it that day, we'll send you the recording so you can watch it at your leisure. And if you like today's episode, please head over to YouTube and subscribe to my channel. Head over to Spotify and like the episode and leave me a review. I'd love to know what you think of today's episode. T.A. Thompson is with me today. He writes fiction designed to make readers gasp, second-guess themselves, and develop complicated feelings about the people they are following. Yeah, he has written an amazing dystopian book called The Mark that I think you're going to find so interesting. So you know the drill. Grab your favorite beverage, a comfortable chair, kick back and relax as we listen to author T.A. Thompson talk about his new book. Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. I'm excited to have author T.A. Thompson with me today. Welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Of course, yeah. Today we're going to talk about you and your book. So why don't you start off by telling my listeners a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I've been in the insurance industry for over 12 years, and I do a lot of different things to try to escape from reality because that's pretty boring. One of them is writing. I like writing sci-fi, fantasy, and dystopian type books.
Yeah, okay. And how did you get into writing? I mean, was it something you've always wanted to do since you were a child?
Oh yeah, I used to write when I was in the 3rd grade, and they were horrible, of course, just absolutely horrible. But they were dark, and that has continued. Like, I love writing very dark things where you are reading it and you're like, that's not really going to happen. And then it happens and people freak out.
Oh, wow. Is it because of books you used to read
Oh
that
yeah,
were dystopian or?
not necessarily. I'm a big Stephen King fan, and like Cujo really set the tone for me because, Tad dies at the end, and that is not, that's not normal. Usually when you read a book, you want to leave with the warm and fuzzies, but I don't know, it just resonated with me and I like doing something different.
Yeah. And so did you, take courses or go to conferences to learn more about the craft?
That would have been the smart thing to do. I
I didn't do
actually
it that way either, so that's okay.
I actually got an idea in my head one day after my daughter just made a comment about something that she did, which was almost electrocuting herself. And all of a sudden, I had this idea for a book, and I just sat down and I wrote it. And that was the first book I wrote, which is not published. And it flowed pretty smooth. I was actually quite happy with it. No outline, anything. This one, I got the idea when I was mowing the lawn. It just kind of popped into my head as well. And when I get those ideas in my head, I have to get them out somehow.
Mhm.
So this one, I came up with a very general outline and then just started writing it.
Okay. And so of all the genres, you chose this genre. Did you read of different kinds of genres growing up or?
I did. I love fantasy and I love
Mm.
horror. I've read some dystopian. And the funny thing is I didn't like sit down and say, I want to write a dystopian novel. I
Mm.
said, I like this type of character and I want her to behave this way. And here's how that's going to happen. And it just ended up being dystopian.
Ah. Okay, yeah. Because I'm like you. I had an idea for a book like way back in 1989, and I knew it would be fantasy because that's what I mostly enjoyed. And I just started writing. And then years later, I took writing craft, courses and went to conferences. So I kind of did it the backwards way. But sometimes you just have a story inside you that you have to get out. And like you, when I first wrote it, I knew it wasn't going to be anything great. And so that's why later on I went back to revisit it with an editor and stuff. But I find that most of us will have some sort of a story inside and we want to tell it. So let's talk about your book, The Mark, and tell us a little bit about this story and how it came to be.
Well, it came to be a little weird, but when I went to college late and I loved my biology class, and I had to do a presentation on some weird disease. And the one that I picked had to do with telomeres, which are part of everyone's DNA. And it literally is like a fuse. Every time one of your cells replicates, the fuse gets a little smaller. Once the fuse runs out, the cells don't replicate anymore, which is why when you get older, you don't heal as well,
Mm.
um, and it takes longer to recover from things. So I had the thought, what if someone engineered it to where when it got to a certain point, it just killed off the cell, which means that the entire body would end up just dying. It would just die at once. And in the book, it's called The Drop. So it was um, it was genetically engineered by this crazy scientist who was mad at the world, and he figured out a way to spread it around. And now, because of that, nobody gets over the age of 22. They all die by the time that they're 22.
Ah, that's kind of relevant for today, I would think. You have some people in different cultures wanting all the human beings to just stop, because we're
Yeah,
damaging the
scary.
planet. So I could see where people in this who love this genre would really get into this story. So tell us about these telomeres and what made you want them to be like the source of this drop.
Well, I wanted to have a young character, young in our terms, who is actually considered old in the world. So while the illness causes everyone to die by 22, she's 25
Mm,
and she's considered a freak of nature. Like age is important to them and age brings wisdom, like that's carried down. However, because she's so much older than anyone has been in the last 500 years, she is looked down upon. People avoid her. She's essentially ostracized from her society. But she also has in the back of her mind that she's going to die at any second. Any second could be her last because she's outlived her life expectancy. So all of her decisions are made with that in the back of her mind. She doesn't care what anybody says. She's going to do it her way. And she doesn't care about consequences because what are consequences when you're going to be dead tomorrow?
So how did that affect morality, where the people are in the world you created?
Oh, it's morality is very hard to find.
Mm,
There are areas where it's completely lawless. There are areas like where she comes from where they've tried to establish a government, and they have, but it's kind of loosey-goosey. But people always have in the back of their mind that, you know, things are short term. It's not going to be a long-term existence. And that has really caused problems with infrastructure, and it's caused problems with manufacturing. When everybody essentially dropped in 2030, there was nobody over the age of 22. Nobody knew how to run anything. So it just caused utter chaos. And
Mm.
there are different factions within my world that have all evolved differently. So there's she's from Livingston, and they all work together and they work for the greater good. There is a place called New Sparta where they've taken on a more militaristic attitude, and they have a real class-based system. So it's a completely different type of government than Livingston. And then you go further east and you find the city of Huron, which is really just a podunk little village. And they don't live as long, even as some of the other people. And they're just really chill and relaxed. And it's like the complete opposite of any of the other civilizations that are out there.
Ah, I see. So you have a world where you're losing, wisdom, the wisdom that comes with being an elder person, and therefore you're also losing leadership that these young people can turn to. So then you have chaos. So in there you have this character. What made you want to go with the strong female character rather than your typical strong male character hero type of thing?
And I think that's a great question, because that was something that I intentionally focused on. There was two things that I wanted when I made her. One, I wanted, when you read it, I wanted you to hate her and love her at the same time. Like you can't make up your mind which one it should be. And the other thing is I hate the normal tropes that are in
Mm.
books. So I wanted a very strong female character who would just run roughshod over any of the male characters.
Nice. Okay. Did you have someone in mind who inspired you? Someone from your own life or another character you read about or?
No, she just kind of sprang to my mind, and I put a little bit of my own sarcasm and sassiness into her, and just built on it from there.
Now, her name is Alexandra, and she might come across as like the anti-hero. Is that a risk, though, that maybe readers won't like her or want to cheer her on, root for her throughout the story?
It is a risk, but I wrote it for myself, so
Mm.
I enjoy that type of character, and I've had a lot of positive feedback about her. Usually it starts off, oh my gosh, she's crazy. And then it evolves as her character arc evolves, and people do end up liking her.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, we see a lot of those characters in popular stories in film and books, so I think that's a great idea. It seems more realistic, a realistic approach if the world is descending into such chaos. You just might find this kind of person rather than this, happy-go-lucky typical hero person.
But those people don't exist in
Exactly.
real life. And I know this isn't real life, but I like to make things real life when I'm writing them or creating them. So I wanted a diverse character who encompasses everything that you would see in a normal person.
I agree. I mean, when I used to teach writing, some of my students would struggle with that when I'd tell them you have to give your character strengths, but you also have to give them flaws. And they'd say, why? Why do they have to have flaws? I don't understand. So I'd always bring up Tony Stark. You know, Here he is. He's brilliant, right? That's a character trait. That's a really strong trait to have, to be brilliant. But what's the flaw that could come from that? And they thought about who he is, and they all said arrogance. I said, yeah, he's very arrogant and inconsiderate. But later on, when he's stuck in that cave, his brilliance really comes to help him out, doesn't it? And so that's a good thing in your kind of story where you have this dystopian world of chaos. What are some of Alexandra's strengths that ended up also being maybe some of her flaws too?
Well, she is a phenomenal fighter. So,
Mm.
because manufacturing has essentially disintegrated, they're back to hand weapons. And she has a special short sword called a wakizashi that is Japanese. It's like the counterpart to a katana, and she is phenomenal with it. Like you're hard pressed to find anyone who can beat her. But because of that, she thinks that the answer to all of her questions, if she wants something, it's violence, and she's going to take you out to get what she wants. And she really has to figure out a way to come around that in the book and discover that if you want to work with other people, you can't just take them out.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that's great. You showed how you have this strength that can also become a flaw. Now, you said you have a background in commercial insurance. How did that help you create this story, to create this world, and shape the way people, your readers might think about risk? I mean, isn't that what an insurance person does, is you assess for risk? How
All
did
day
that help
long.
you? Yeah, how did that help you?
Well, being in commercial insurance, it actually makes me not want to leave my house because all I do is I have to think of worst case scenario for everything, literally everything, and how that would affect someone's business.
Mhm.
So when I started writing, especially in a dystopian world where everything's just falling apart, everything is worst case scenario. So it made it a lot easier for me to come up with those scenarios and probably take them a little bit farther than most people would, just because I'm used to living in that world and I have a crazy imagination.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I work in higher education and we write courses. And I remember having to write a course with an insurance professional about risk management for our students to take. And that was interesting. That was quite the eye opener, how they just have to assess every single thing.
Yes. Yeah, and
I could
and
see, yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
When you bring some of these scenarios up to people, first they're like, that'll never happen. But then as you talk to them about it a little more, oh yeah, that could happen. And am I ready for that? And I do my best to translate that into Alexandra and her personality.
Well, it's true. I mean, as writers, we have to think of the worst case scenarios. We put our characters in these horrible situations and then we wonder, how am I going to get them out of there? And the other day I was drafting a chapter for my story, and sure enough, I got my character into one heck of a situation. So I asked AI for some ideas. I said, here she's in this situation. What are some ways to get her out that are believable so that my readers don't roll their eyes and think, oh, brother? And AI said, yeah, we don't want her to seem like a superhero. So they gave me about four or five situations that weren't bad. But yeah, I mean, sometimes we authors, we get them into this horrible situation, then we forget, okay, now we have to get them out.
That's actually one of the things, and it's going to sound silly, but it's one of the things that I really like about writing. I'm really big into playing Dungeons and Dragons, and I lead the
Mm.
game. So I have to put the characters in situations, and I have no idea how they're going to get out. And I would do that with her when I wrote, like, here's a situation, and then I would just write until she got out of it. And so I would even be surprised. And sometimes I had to change things to make it fit, or it just didn't work. But it was just an enjoyable process to see how the character behaved when I had no idea how she was going to react or get out of it.
Now, as authors, we want to entertain our readers, that's for sure. But we also want to have some themes in there, which are those, universal messages about life that we want to put in our stories too. So, what do you hope readers will think about or take away from reading The Mark?
Well, a big one is the big enemy in the book is time. And it requires readers to think about time in a different sense as opposed to I have years to accomplish something. It could literally be seconds to minutes to hours to days. And it really changes the scope on consequences and your view of consequences, how quickly you're wanting to respond to something, and the type of response that you're wanting to get from it. There are also definite ties to motherhood in here because she is a mother and she has her son taken away from her because of her actions. And it really keeps coming back to how she feels about her son and how that he becomes her driving force to want to get him back, and the lengths that she's willing to go to accomplish that.
Oh, that's neat. I like that. So yeah, I think readers can get a lot from the message of the Mark. That's wonderful. And so is the Mark out in the world right now?
Yes, you can find it on Amazon.
Fantastic. And do you have a website?
I do. It is tathompsonwriter.com.
Okay, great. And so folks head over to tathompsonwriter.com and you can check out the book there, more about it, and where, his media page and more about TA himself. And can they contact you too? Do you have a newsletter?
I don't have a newsletter, but I recently started an Instagram, and that's t.a.thompson. You can find me there. And then same on Facebook. And then if you wanted to email me, and I might be crazy for throwing this out there, but it's t.a.thompsonwriter@outlook.com.
Oh, great. Yeah. So let TA know what you think of the book. And yeah, that's fantastic. So what's coming next for you in 2026?
Well, I have another book that I wrote before this that I am working on having it edited. And I would love to get that one out there. That was the one that my daughter inspired me to write just by a little comment that she made. And then I have another book that I am waist deep in. I have about 100,000 words into it, and I'm about halfway through it. And that one fits more into a horror genre, which I'm really looking forward to seeing how that turns out.
Yeah. Do you like to do standalones? Do you have any series coming up?
I could easily make The Mark into a series, and I have like the second one just kind of marinating in the back of my mind right now. But I want to try different things and challenge myself just to see what I can do.
Sure. Yeah, I understand that completely. Well, this has been great. Wow. I wish you nothing but the best for The Mark. And listeners, make sure you go and get your copy today on Amazon and follow T.A. Thompson on Amazon. So when his next project releases, you'll be alerted. Amazon will send you an email and say, hey, this author's released a new project. I love that when they do that too. And well, so this has been wonderful getting to know you. Thank you for joining me today on the podcast.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for having me. It's been a blast.
Wow, wasn't that great to listen to T.A. Thompson talking about his new book, The Mark, and how it's this dystopian story. Wow, it just goes deep. Sounds fascinating. So like I said, it's available on Amazon right now. So head over to Amazon and get your copy and leave him a review. Let TA know what you think of his story. I hope that you've been encouraged to keep going on your writing journey. I mean, here we have TA. He's a nerd, an insurance professional, and yet here he is writing books. And if there's a story inside of you that is, just needs to come out, you have to do it. You have to get it out. So be encouraged by his story and his perseverance to get that book done. But most importantly, try and write something every day. Keep going on your writing journey, always going forward. I thank you so much for listening today. Until next time, God bless.